And we are all culprits, including myself.
No, everybody, in fact,
Yes.
this is one issue which, unfortunately, people are not. No, in a society like us, the car has become a status symbol. That's why people, a poor person, when he's on cycle, he struggles, he save money to buy a scooter. The moment he buy a scooter, then he started saving money for a second-hand car. eh? And if you are able to buy a second-hand car, then you go for the new car. These are all some of these are in our society. We take it as a status symbol. What to do? People have to, and the of course equally important issue is the lack of public transport.
But now there are electric bicycles also with 100 kilometers range. So we can travel and come here with it. But that's somewhere a hard decision will have to be taken at least for a short period during November and December. I'm still from that day suffering from allergic asthma. I shouldn't have come against advice medical boards. I have come because of duty to the court. The Lordship had posted it today for my.
We are working, the government has executed already so many very ambitious projects, and one after the other projects are going on. We are quite sure there is one project probably that will bring metro in the Supreme Court compound itself.
But by the time your Lordship will be heading the next matter, the next date, there will be thousands of cars on the street added. The automobile industry is too powerful. It will be just like cigarettes, that we advertise harmful to danger to life, etc. Skeleton is there. That you don't be banned.
These gas guzzlers are the biggest problem, and therefore maybe that it's time that the big rich people they start sacrificing.
That's right.
And they go for instead of these very high-end vehicles, they may, and now fortunately for them also, now very good quality electric cars are there. Good quality, very good, all comforts and.
So we will blame everything. Sometimes we will point to the farmers. Sometimes we'll say Diwali, which is one day.
No, neither
These
Diwali
vehicles
nor the farmers.
every day.
These are all temporary for few days. These are not the real causes.
No. Anyway, Lordship will be examining. So I'm placing my submission, Lord, and let's see how far I can carry on, Lord, before the breath breaks. There's two questions were raised with respect to the constitutionality. The first was that during the preparation of electoral rolls, citizenship cannot be examined. Another aspect was that the documents which are there, what more documents should be, that's a separate exercise of power. But on a purely constitutional plane, notwithstanding Article 326, the submission more emphatically placed was that because of Part 2 of the Constitution, which deals with citizens, the field of determining who is citizen and who is not is virtually an occupied field covered by Section 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of Part 2. In particular, Section 9 was relied upon to submit that only central government can examine, not the commission. So that's the first question, Lord, which I would like to address. The other constitutional aspect was what is the relationship between Article 324 and 327? That is the competence of the parliament to make law with regard to elections. Is Article 324 completely displaced? Or is it a question, my lord, which is to be examined on a case-to-case basis depending upon the nature of the statutory provision and the rules which have been framed thereunder? So in particular cases, this court may come to a conclusion that the parliament has not closed the doors entirely, and I'm assuming that parliament could do so, and without joining issue on that score for the present. So assuming parliament has, my lord, laid down something, the question would be still how stringent, how complete is the coverage of the field? That is the principle which normally your lordships also apply in the case of Article 254, Lord, where parliamentary law and state law in the concurrent field are either competing or operating in the same field. There also your lordships have said, my lord, that repugnance, when do we say that it is repugnant? So it would be my submission, my lord, that Article 324, 325, 326, read with section 15, 16, and 19 of the Act itself, and section 21, 2, and 3, they do not foreclose exercise of power by the Election Commission of India in the field of revision of electoral roll. On the contrary, my lord, the rules expressly envisage that on having recorded reasons, the Election Commission can, my lord, deviate. To what extent it can deviate, and that would be another issue. But the field is not totally foreclosed. That would be my humble submission on these two constitutional questions. Thereafter, not the question will be about what is the scope of section 21.2 and 21.3 and whether sufficient reasons have been recorded, lords. And finally, Lord, will be the field, lords, about various problems which people have been, the petitioners have been, lords, the learned councils representing them have been projecting on various counts. So let me begin with this, lords. Article 324, which your lordships have seen, and it is of some significance that preparation of electoral rolls has been separately mentioned and that is conduct of elections and preparation of electoral. The two separate categories have been specified. This whole chapter, was part 15, has a historical background. As the lordships are aware, before the independence was achieved, the Government of India Act 19 and Government of India Act 1935 were operating. Without going into great details, Lordship may simply note, my lord, that the first problem which had arisen in the realm of elections, that was in 1909, India Council Act, which, my lord, granted separate electorates on a communal basis. The second was limited franchise, which even at the